just let me jump off a trampoline, you know. And on Star Wars, we didn't use any wires apart from one thing, and that was in the desert. And I did that off a trampet. We tested it on an air ram. It's when I come off the speedo. We tested it on an air ram. We tested it on wires, and then we did it off a trampet. And that was the only time. Any other time we did that for real, which was good, because Nick was all about no wire work. He wants to show, you know, show us floating and jumping through the air for real.
Are you finding that on productions that producers or directors are almost relying too much on either wire work or CG to get the stunt they want, not letting the stuntman actually go after it in real physical space?
I think in some, depending on what type of genre it is and type of movies, is that maybe the producers or the directors confident enough to get his message across using animated or CGI. But George is very good at that with ILM. They're very good at, you know, the characters they have are very believable. And if you can let your mind just escape and believe what's happening in the story, rather than say no, you know, and go, wow, that's amazing. How did they do that? That was really good. And if you believe it, then the storytelling has been told in a good way. And I understand why they want to show you their story, and you know, you're supposed to let your mind go, you know. And it was hard for me working in movies and then analysing everything. Going, oh look, see, her hair was out of place. Makeup girl didn't do a job. Oh look, there's a boom. I can see the microphone there. Oh, they could, you know, and it's horrible because I love watching film, and so I stopped going to the movies for a good 2 years, and this is just after Phantom Menace was being released, because I didn't enjoy it. Or I'd get angry and go, I was better than him, how comes he's there and I'm not? And you know, it's just little things, you know. I'm like, that martial arts is rubbish, and I'm sure that's what happens with me now, that someone might be sitting there and going, oh, they could have done that better, or I know Ray can do better here. And it's all within what you're allowed to do, and that's why I know when I get my own movie one day, if I win the lottery, if I play it, and I win the lottery, I'm going to make my own film, and I'm going to get all my friends, and we're going to make a really good film. And that's why I hope one day I'll be able to do that when I'm young enough to still do it.
What is the Ray Park directed movie going to be?
I want it to be a comedy, you know, comedy action. I really do want to do an action movie, and if I would do an action movie, it's going to be dark, and it's going to be traditional in the sense of martial art fighting. And I'm torn between doing a period piece as well, so you can really go into that, your imagination with, you know, spirits and magic and wizardry. And I've always wanted to play a Viking, so I have a good excuse to have a Viking mug and bash mugs and shout.
You're a Scot, how are you going to play a Viking? That's just...
I know, but it'd be nice. It'd be nice to just... You know,
nice stretch.
You know, it'd be nice to do it, so...
Questions? Yes, sir.
What is your mask made of in Snake in G.I. Joe?
The question was, what is the Snake Eyes mask made of in CGI Joe?
It looked like it was like almost matted on your face.
Yeah, what they did with the costume for Snake Eyes was, I went to a place, they laser scanned my body, I was standing there naked, with just my boxers on, standing like that, and then I thought I was going to have to do a big body cast, you know, put me in whatever cement and plaster, but they didn't, they laser scanned it, I think like Gentle Giant or one of those guys did it, and then from that they made my body out of the scan, they scanned me, and then they moulded the suit on the body dummy they had of me, and it was about, I think it was half an inch or a quarter of an inch thick. It was like a rubber latex, and it was very stretchy, but it can be torn as well. It did tear. And so they basically the good thing about it, when I put it on, it fitted me. So if I tense my muscle, you would see everything move. And the worst part was the mask, because the mask was very, I mean, it was tight on my cheeks, and then it had fiberglass in the head, so that the visor could see it. So I couldn't hear, and I couldn't really breathe that well. There was times I was pulling down the eyes just to breathe, and I was getting told off because the suit cost $100 grand to make per suit. So I didn't want to. There's no way I can afford to replace that. And he said, and the suit didn't belong to me. And so there was times at the end, one of the end fight scenes, the guy, there's one request I had was, can you just make sure there's an oxygen tank? Because I don't breathe very well through my nose. And they were talking about blocking up the nose and having a little gap in the mouth. And I'm like, what? You know? But they were really good to me. They're very, they looked after me. But I've never done anything like that before. I've worn makeup and I've done things, but I've never had anything where I'm in something and it's going to take a couple of minutes to get out in a rush. And because it wasn't just that, I had to put the hood on, and then the sword harness would come on, and then everything else. So it wasn't a case of taking off. I had to wait, get the sword off, and then it was unbuttoned. And but I thought they did a great job of it, But when I was originally, I thought I was going to be like the original Snake Eyes, So I'd have to buff up and show my chest off and wear just the traditional gear. So I was concerned about how I was going to move in the suit, but it worked out okay. It was really good. I'm glad I had it because it gave me my motivation to keep silent, use my body language, if I needed something, so I was very visual, because no one could hear me. So it was good. It was a good motivator for me.
Got time for a couple more questions. Actually, let's go over here in the back first. Yes, you in the back.
Are there any fictional characters that you've always wanted to do? Because I think you would make a great childhood characters instead of franchise really sucks.
Did you say Highlander, yeah?
You would make a great Highlander, but are there any other fictional characters that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah. It's funny you should say that because my old manager said, make sure you're in the new Highlander movie. Because I'm...
Good, because they've been sucking.
Thank you.
Well, there could be only one.
Sorry. I met Adrian Paul at San Diego, and he's a really nice guy, and someone suggested the two of us doing something together, and I said yeah, because I want to work with Adrian. I think it's great what he did in the TV shows for Highlander. I'm a big fan of Highlander too, and one of my ideas is a cross between Highlander and Batman, because I like Batman, and so to have the essence of the real person, because Batman's tough, he's all the gadgets, but more of a traditional, like this is a period piece, and also the Da Vinci Code inspired me, the books, to go into this character that I've developed. So I want to do something like that, but I also want to do something, like I was saying, a Viking. I want to play a Highlander, do a Highlander movie, and also I want to do like a circus movie, action, but period, but be funny with it, so I can wear the old tights and have an excuse to get six-pack back again, and Also, I want to play Danny Rand as well, Iron Fist. I want to do that. That's one movie that I really want to do. And so we'll see. Hopefully I get to do it. I'm hoping that they let me do it. So.
Got time for a couple more quick ones, and then we'll be over here. Yeah?
What about the Snake Eyes comics that you're writing?
Oh, yes. We just, Kevin Van Hook and myself co-wrote this. It actually came out Wednesday. But I got to be honest with you, Kevin wrote more about it. I'm not very good at sitting down and writing. I mean, he'll come over to my place, I'll meet with him, and we'd bash out some ideas and good ideas, and he'd always approve it. And so I think Kevin's very talented. He's done stuff for DC as well, and Kevin actually directed me in his movie Slayer. And he's a good director, he's a good friend of mine. And I'm really excited because I told him many years ago that I wanted to start writing and be more involved in things I'm doing. And that's when he approached me and said, look, this is a good opportunity. I said, no, it's great, I felt it was a bit intimidated at first because Snake Eyes. I didn't want, to be judged or anything because Snake Eyes is a very popular character, but I thought it was nice that the company were allowing us to do it, and it was a nice opportunity to do a bit more for the character, because I love Snake Eyes, and I love the character, and G.I. Joe, and I do want to do more things, and more writing, and create, I want to create my own things, I want to be able to, it sort of gets a bit tiring when you read someone else's script, but the producer has someone else in mind, but you can do better, and so I want to write things that I go, I'm in this, my buddy's in the movie, my other friend's in the movie. So, I believe in keeping people tight, good people around you and your friends and people who can do a good job. So hopefully I get to write a bit more.
There was one over here. Yes, sir.
Yes, was interested in how long you've been practicing martial arts, which martial arts you've been practicing, and how did it get you involved in the film industry through your martial art practice?
Yes. I've been doing martial arts since I was 7, I think about 27 years now, 28. The last time I studied, well, I'm always practicing. I do Shaolin Kung Fu, which the name of that is Ching Wus. It's got a mix of everything. It's emphasized mainly on Eagle Claw and Praying Mantis. But I was really into the gymnastic side as well, and that's when I saw wushu. I saw Jet Li in Shaolin Temple when I was 14, and he was doing butterfly twists, butterflies, and I was like, wow, how comes we don't do any of that? And so I went out to Malaysia with some of the other senior students to see how they trained. I didn't go to China first because my teacher's he's from Malaysia, so I wanted to go there. Plus I heard it was really cheap as well. So for a 14, 15-year-old kid, to borrow money off my parents, it was good for me to go, and it was a great experience. And I went out and furthered my studies in martial arts there, but I always knew that I wanted to get into films. That was when the reason why I got into wushu was to get into films, because one of my black belts seniors said, well, Jackie Chan only uses guys who do wushu. So I was like, I'm doing wushu because I want to get into films, and I'm glad I did, because the wushu really helped my traditional style become very elaborate. It's very showy. For film it works. It was never taught in a self-defense way. It was more, you could cross gymnastics and wushu together, because of the way, so I use a lot of the gymnastic training, like the conditioning, to help my wushu. And I wasn't a gymnast, but I started gymnastics late, monkey tricks, doing backflips and twisting on the side, anything I could do. And then when I went to the club, this little 9-year-old gymnast came up to me and said, Mister, she goes, Mister, your backflips are rubbish. And then, but I didn't want to mess with her because she had arms and chest, this little 9-year-old, and she goes tumbling down like a bullet across the floor. And then I see this old guy up the stairs he's looking at me. And, it's one of those like, if you were 20, and then, if you were a boy, and then I started training with these little girls, because I asked, I said, hey, can I train? And they liked us because we were like the goofy guys in the gym. There's 2-3 guys in a gym of girls, so they loved having us around because we were stupid. We were doing, jumping on a trampoline to see who could kill themselves first. And they would wait, and of course, we were untrained, and I think they felt sorry for us because they would only allow us to train when the girls had gone home. Then we started to train during the summer holidays and stuff, and that's when we got to get to know the owners, and he liked us because there was other guys in the gym, not just all girls. And then I started training with these little squads, and then I understood what the teachers were saying. Like I jumped in on some courses, I became qualified to teach, I helped out coaching, I was mentored by other coaches and watched how he would do this and he would do that, and I just took notes, I just was taking notes. And then I started dating a rhythmic gymnast, and she was very flexible in here and there, and she gave me these tips on how to stretch. And then so I always hung out with the rhythmic gymnast girls because they were very bendy and stretchy, and I related that to martial arts because the way they were extending their legs is different from the artistic gymnastics. And so I got into ballet, and I got into ballet because I wanted, at the time I wasn't jumping very high, I wanted to be able to jump higher, and but I didn't want to wear the tights or anything like that, so I got into that, and my jumps became very powerful, and my extensions and the stretching, and I just took anything I could from gymnastics to really help martial arts. And then so I crossed in the morning I would do 2 hours of gymnastic conditioning, and then I would incorporate some of my martial arts skills, and then I would do martial art basics throughout the day, and then I would do a fun session at the end of the day. But I was training with these little 9-year-olds, they were kicking my backside, it was like, it was good, it was a good time, to be doing it. But it did affect my martial arts at one point. I became too rigid, because of the conditioning. Gymnastics is all about keeping the chest in, whereas martial arts is a different expression. So it was good. It was a good training for me, and it did help me. It did help get me my jobs. But that's the only reason why. If I was to go in and audition as an actor, there's been no way I would have got any of my jobs in the beginning. And I was lucky that they were looking for a physical performer. And that's where I got that. And I'm all about show, because wushu is all about showy, and you show off and do this. And we were always drilled to do demonstrations in Malaysia. My master, he would, thinking about it now, he would feed us, we would go and do these celebrations, and we're like, yeah, and he goes, have some brandy, have some this, have some, we're like, no. And go, oh, so he'd force it down our necks, and we'd be sitting there stuffed, and then after like he'd come up and put his arm around all of us boys, and you good, yeah. And he goes, okay, demonstration. You know? And then we were there to demonstrate, but they had this big festival, but we were there, the foreigners, the guys from overseas, now we're going to see them have do a demonstration. And we did that for days and days and days. And what that taught me was to be able to perform anywhere, anytime. You know, it really helped me in my acting career. You know, so to be able to just be on the ball. And hope I answered your question there. Sorry.
I'm getting the wrap-up signal, but there was one young gentleman right here who had a question. I want to make sure he got his in. Yes, sir.
Hey, bud. Do you want to come up here? Do you want to come up here? Come on up here.
Dad, what was the question you had?
I'm not the dad, that's dad.
Oh.
What were you going to ask him? Which Jedi do you think could beat him?
Yeah, which Jedi does he think could beat Darth Maul?
It's the classic question. Which Jedi does he think could beat Darth Maul?
Master Yoda.
Guys, unfortunately, we are out of time, but I want to thank everybody for coming out. Ray, thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have fun. Good. So I hope I didn't make you too tired.